All right, everyone, welcome back. We're here in the house with a special guest. Many of you know him as Every Goddamn Dre on Instagram, but we were laughing that nobody actually knows who you really are. So this is your opportunity to formally introduce yourself to the audience. Who are you?
I am Adriell Mace.
And what do you prefer people to call you?
Dre. Normally
Dre.
Dre. I changed my name to Dre when I was in like 3rd grade because they kept screwing up my real name.
That's how it goes for a lot of people. People don't know this. I went by Mark for 17 years of my life. My first 17 years, I was Mark. And then I got to college and they enrolled me as, my given name. My legal name was Marcus. And I had I got to the dorms and my suite mate, there were 4 of us in the suite. One of them was a football player, running back, named Marcus. And so we were two, Marcus on both doors. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have a lot to bond and connect with him at first. And he was like, "Oh, your name's Marcus too?" And I was like, yeah, we're going by Marcus now. So I officially switched to Marcus in college, thanks to Marcus O'Keefe. So banter topic, we always start with something light. Mm-hmm. You are known for a lot of things, but one that the Instagram knows about is that you feed your children, aka your dogs, better than most people feed themselves. Yeah. Tell us what you feed your dogs on a daily basis.
So they go through a lot of things. There's this new company, We Feed Raw, that just deliver frozen meat, whether it's lamb, beef, turkey, chicken. So they eat a ton of raw meat. Yep. They get fresh berries, fresh broccoli, fresh vegetables. They'll get salmon. They get liver. They get anything that's healthy related as far as fruits, vegetables, or just beef.
They're just eating real. They're like the OG paleo, right?
Oh
there.
Man, but it's been interesting watching them change in the sense of their coat of their fur. It's smoother. They both lost 8 pounds when they transitioned to that diet. Wow. And they just seem more energetic.
How long ago did you transition to that kind of diet?
It's been a couple of years now.
And prior to that, you were just feeding them regular?
Regular kibble. We'll get regular kibble, but the youngest dog had food allergies, so we had to find ways to feed her that didn't make her itch all the time. Wow. So we explored the raw for her. Yeah. And then we was all right, feeding it to one dog, we might as well give it to the other one.
So you order all this in from a company, or you actually go to
So the meat we order from a company, but the fruit, the vegetables and fruit, we just buy at the store, and we just make it for them twice a day. It's a process.
Were they eating healthier or better than you, or were you already eating this way?
I was already eating this way, and I just why wouldn't I feed them the way I eat? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
It's a lot of work, though.
It's a lot of work, and it's more expensive than buying kibble?
It is. The trick is we don't pay attention to it. Yeah. It's I don't want to talk about it. People how much you spend on your dogs? I was I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't want to get frustrated with it, so I don't know.
I have a separate bank account for that, a separate wallet for that. I don't even look at it. It's just, okay, right on. Well, that is, I mean, I guess it's a little different because they're just gonna eat what you give them, right?
They do, but the oldest, I tricked her one day. I tried to give her kibble, she would not eat it.
Oh yeah,
give her back the kibble, she would not eat it. Because before, when they had kibble, she would just pick at it or go to it and not really care for it. They'll sit around all day. But now when I feed them, they're right away. It's just
yeah, pets to me, this is I didn't grow up with pets. We don't have pets now. But it's such a controlled experiment because you control what they eat, right? They're not scavenging for food, for sure, and as long as they're not getting into the cupboard and ripping apart stuff and get whatever. But it's so you get to control their diet, and when they eat, it's a perfect experiment. Hey, we're gonna change your diet. We're gonna change when you eat. We're gonna change how much, and you start to see when they're thriving and when they're not, right? Yeah. Yeah. I love that post you did the other day where it was the week after the time change or days after the clock, the daylight savings. And they're just they don't care what the clock says. It's
Yeah.
like, it's time to eat, and I'm just waiting here right now for my meal.
Oh, for sure. They were like kicking their bowls all over the place, like because in their mind they knew it was like
Yeah.
it's 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
like this
it's
is what time
rhythmed.
we eat. How is that a thing though? Like I don't know how is that even
The
possible?
daylight saving thing.
No, like that the dogs still
the
know.
thing. Oh, well, that's circadian biology. That's
Yeah.
that's what I try and preach to people when we're talking about nutrition. It's like, teach your body and give your body a rhythm and a routine, and it will adapt to it. And then, so it's like, you eat at 9, eat at noon, eat at 3, eat at 6, like make it like clockwork.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do that and you establish that consistent routine, then the beauty of it is that your body knows what time it is. You can anticipate your energy levels are going to be, this is when my energy is going to be like this. This is when I'm going to start to drop and fade a little bit, and that's when I have a meal. And you can just make it so much more routine and rhythm for people. So
Yeah, I felt like that with working out as well. It was like going through college, and then after college, it was when it would get past the point that I would usually worked out by now. My body be like shaking, like I'm like itching. It's like because I haven't done it yet, but
yeah,
it was the same thing.
and it goes for how when you move, when you eat, and then when your head hits the pillow. Those are kind of the three. Maybe you add in like when you get exposure to light, sunlight. You know, it's partly why people say like get out, get that early morning sunlight, because that helps to set that. I mean, people like it's like circadian biology is like the rhythms and the clockwork of your internal systems that don't even know what the clock says. They just know what your rhythms are. But those 4 things make just a dramatic difference. If anyone out there is struggling, take the dogs as an example. It's like, and when you feed them at this time, and you feed them at this time, and you feed them this food, and you feed them this food, like they get tired when they get tired. Like it's probably predictable. They're like, it's time to go for a walk, right? This is when we go for a walk, or this is time when we go lay down and go to bed. Yeah. Okay, so maybe just for people who haven't got to see you yet on social media or heard any of your story, can you give us just sort of a, I don't know, the elevator pitch on how how you got into fitness and maybe your background a little bit?
I mean, I played sports. So I played college football, and amongst playing football, we did a lot of workouts, a lot of training. So I was really into it, and when I was in college, and I always knew I wanted to do something surrounding working out. Mm-hmm. It was more like strength and conditioning focus as I was leaving college, and then I started working at a gym. So I got more one-on-one stuff. Well, actually, I was trying to get a job. I always tell this story about how I applied to Planet Fitness to be a trainer, and they just kept denying me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, oh, wow. So I ended up there was another local gym hiring, but they weren't hiring for trainers. They were hiring front desk, night shift. Uh-huh. And it was 12 to 4 a.m. and 11 to 3 a.m. But that's all they had. And I'm me in my mind, I'm all right, let me just get my foot in the door. I know I want to train, but this is all they got right now. So I'm I'm going to take this. So I took the night shifts. I did the night shifts for 6 months. Wow. At some point, I was able to get a day shift, and then I was able to meet the head trainer and all that. Then I was able to get a training job, and that's how I took it from there.
How many years was that? That
was a couple years. Right out of college, a couple years. So I was coaching during the day, and I was working night shift at a gym, cleaning bathrooms at 1 in the morning. Wow. Because it was a 24-hour gym.
Yeah. That's funny. I was just in Vegas, and I would wake up I was waking up early, had workshops during the day. I got up at 4 and went to the Planet Fitness, and it's empty. Yeah. Right? There's a couple people, but I'm the guy that's at working the desk, I'm man, he's doing everything. And it's
he got to go everywhere. Yeah. It was a rough job. It was and had I not had in my mind, this is what I wanted to do, I would have been oh, no shot.
Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm. So go back to college. I'm curious because I went through a, Division I strength conditioning program at Cal. I was a soccer player, so there was fewer soccer players. I mean, I found myself probably of 25 guys on the team or 22 guys on the team, there were maybe 3 of us that were really into the weight training. The other 18 were just checking boxes, right? I got to do how many sets of this? Okay, I'm done. I want to get out. What was the percentage of of guys on your football team that were kind of just phoning it in strength training, or was it
probably around like 20%, and we probably have like at that point in college probably like 100 guys.
Yeah.
So you got like that 20% of people that like actually enjoy it and take it serious, because a lot of our lifts at that point were like 4 a.m., 5:30 a.m.
Right.
So it was like the time sucked, and then like some people just didn't care to work out. Like I was up until my going back before college and high school. I hated working out.
Yeah.
It was just pointless because I was gifted. Like I was talented at football. Like I didn't need to work out. Like I was just good at it.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's the point?
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got like older I understood. So I was like, I like it. But same thing in college. A lot of the guys were just gifted. Like they freakish athletes. They didn't really need to lift weights.
Interesting. So do you think that was what really got you? I mean, what was the thing that kind of made you really connect to fitness? Was it just pure joy? Like, I love getting strong. I love the actual exercise, or did you see like it making you better on the field, or what was the thing?
It was an outlet for me. It was like every time I would do it, like I would just get lost in it in the sense of like I didn't have to think about the outside world, and I enjoy like the disconnect from life.
Yes.
And with lifting, I always got that. So it's like, I enjoyed it.
Very cool. And what was you've shared this with me in the past, but talk about your decision to, because you were good at football, and it sounded like you had opportunities maybe to go play after college. What was what made you not pursue that?
It just was like weighing it out, seeing like what was actually the reality of it, like the odds of me like actually doing it long term. So even say I was able to get in, like how long would I be able to be in?
Yeah.
It would have been like a couple of years, maybe, if that. It was like, I think I'd just rather start my life and start to work towards my career.
Yeah.
Because anything other than that is just like prolonging it. Like I had guys or friends that would go overseas and play, and it'd be like, money would be like decent, but not like crazy. It was like, what are you doing? At some point, you're going to have to stop. You're going to have to start your life here, and you're going to be behind the ball. So it's like, I'm all set. I think but towards the end, I felt like I was done. Like my body was just like banged up. I was into fitness, but more in like the bodybuilding way. So I didn't really know how to take care of myself. Like I just knew how to like beat myself up, build muscle.
Yeah.
Not really mobile like that. It was just like, so I was just banged up in pain.
Yeah. You also, I mean, now well, certain people are going to have seen the work that you do, but you take somewhat of an unconventional approach to fitness now. Certainly the things that, plenty of good science and good conventional wisdom inside your training, but you've explored a lot of new things over the past bunch of years. What are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned through your career as like in fitness that you wish you could go back and implement back in your playing days?
Honestly, just exploring more movement with like mobility stuff, and not just being so limited in my training. I did a ton of just like machines, bodybuilding stuff when I was in college, like all that you would see on your regular fitness magazine or like what is it, T Nation or something like that. Back in the day, I would do a lot of those lifts, so it was like nothing that was inherently making me a better athlete. It was just like, I'm just trying to build muscle, be stronger.
Yeah.
So I would probably want to lift and train to perform at my sport more than anything. I feel like I would have got a lot more out of it playing on the field and just exploring, being more mobile.
What's like? Give us an example of something that it's like, if I just could take this back with me, I would have done this every single week, or I would have done that. What's something that you would have implemented?
Probably the stretching and like the mobility work.
Yeah.
Paying attention to like, but a lot of this information wasn't out there back then. Like it wasn't accessible. Like we had strength and conditioning coaches, but I don't even think they knew and understood like the ankles and like how everything starts. Yeah, knees over toes. Like a lot of that stuff wasn't like prevalent yet. Like it wasn't enough information out there. But I think if I could take back anything, it would be everything. Like just the whole approach of like training and moving your body.
What do you look back on and feel like grateful that you did with your training early on? Was it building a certain amount of strength? Like was it just the hard work? I mean, yeah. For me, it'd be just like the hard work, because like a lot of these
a lot of people in the industry, like they understand it, but they never actually done it. It's like what it takes to build muscle, like training to failure. And when you first get in it, if you come around like a lot of like bros, gym bros, bodybuilders, they don't know much, but they know how to train hard.
Yeah.
And that's what I did in my early days. I just trained hard, like no matter what, to failure all the time, like whatever it was, maxing out, I just trained hard. So I understand how to do that now. It was just like unlearning all of that when I realized I need to learn how to do everything else.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of comparison of like the person who just goes into the gym, maybe doesn't train with the best principles, but trains like a savage and just gets after it. And if their bodies are resilient enough, they can make a ton of progress. Yeah. And then there's, somebody who maybe is learning fitness later in life. They're taking on weight training for the first time in their 30s or maybe their 40s. And there's a little less like risk tolerance when you're older. You're like, I don't want to hurt myself, so I'm just going to learn the form perfect. And of course, there's a lot of value to like learning good form, but it's like, how do you get that person to like kind of just
push the envelope? They never do, and it's like that's like I think it's just like a double-edged sword. It's like they miss out on actually training hard. Like, and I said this before. I was like, a lot of building muscle and building true strength is being okay with the point that you might get injured. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been injured plenty of times amongst my lifting journey, but I was able to build a lot of muscle as well. So it's like, it's kind of like give and take,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I when I like talk to younger like athletes and younger lifters, I'm like, and they just love to push it. They want to do everything. I used to be in the camp of like, don't do that. Like you're going to hurt yourself. And then I realized like, well, you're actually pretty resilient. Let's just put a couple guardrails on you, but just go for it. Like get after it. And like, that was like my CrossFit career was, 25 to 24 years old to like 31 years old. And that was kind of probably prime years of lifting. And I was injured a lot, but the trade-off was that I also was the strongest, most muscular, built the biggest base of fitness that I have gotten to carry with me. Would I want to do that now? Absolutely not. Like, I don't need to walk around with pain every, day. But there's a ton of value in learning how to push.
Knowing how to do it.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Like, I think a lot of people in the industry now, they just don't know how, or they're afraid to. Mm-hmm. But they have goals that may need them to be able to like put on a little more muscle, put on a little more strength, or be able to get people like clients to do it.
Yeah, I had a coach and a mentor once that he used to say, what's the key? Like people are like, well, what's the key to building muscle? Like what sets and what reps, and like asking all the technical questions. And he I'll paraphrase, but it was basically like, you just need to, like, every day you need to wake up and it just needs to be your number one thought. Like, I need to grow, and everything you're doing is just if this will help me a little bit, then more of it might help me more. You just gotta give it a little bit more. Mm. Yeah. Okay. So then you transition past, cleaning toilets and mopping floors, and you're getting into training. You're taking on some clients. Talk about that maybe year or two, first couple years of training, and then what was that learning process like for you?
I felt like it was difficult in the beginning because I'm thinking like most trainers get into training, you're like, I want to train people like me. They can do everything. Like they have the ability to do X, Y, and Z. And for a while, like at those local gyms, that's the kind of clientele you get. You get some older people, or you get some people that are just different than you. And at that point, I didn't have the knowledge to train them any different type of way than I was training myself. Uh-huh. So it's like, look, I felt like it wasn't right, but I didn't know anything else. Yeah. So like that first couple of years was just like, I was just giving people workouts. Mm-hmm. I don't really think I was considered like a trainer. Like I don't think I had enough knowledge to be able to like truly give these people the best of what they need. They just getting good workouts.
Yeah.
But the progress thing, like I wasn't able to do that with them yet.
So how did you go about like filling in those knowledge gaps for yourself?
Well, it wasn't until I started working. I ended up working at Equinox, and they have like a whole like education system they put you through to kind of teach you how to train people, and which is perfect because in that audience of people, like you working with like CEOs, you working with doctors, you working with people that are not fit at all and they're broken. So you can't just do anything with them. You actually have to like take a step back and like learn how the body works, how to increase stability, increase mobility, and it takes you from like day one of like actually learning how to train people.
Yeah, wow.
And as I was going through training them that way, I realized like I should probably be training this way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of implemented it in my own training as I was building it up for them.
So you kind of started. I mean, you really started from the bottom, and then Equinox is I mean, more or less like the premier health
for
club,
sure. Yeah.
At least in the States.
Yeah.
You know, and are they overseas?
Yeah, they got a couple places overseas. Yeah.
They do. Yeah. What was it like working in like a corporate structure like that?
It was different. It was good. I felt like it was a lot, like you feel a lot of pressure to do things right. But there's also was a lot of information to like learn, and I just valued how much I learned. I was able to really take it because remember I already had that push factor. Like I knew how to train hard. It was like, all right, I just need the other pieces. So like I was eager to learn the other pieces.
Yeah.
Because I was amongst a lot of other trainers that were really smart. But the problem is like a lot of them, they didn't have that push factor. And obviously I stood out because I was a lot more muscular than a lot of them. So it was easier for me to get clients, but I didn't have the knowledge they had.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let me just obtain this knowledge and then we're good.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was obsessed with like gaining knowledge on that. So I would love to take on clients that were like older, people that had pain, people that, because it forced me to really like learn how to train these people.
When did kettlebells come into your life?
During that time.
Yeah.
Because I realized a lot of those people probably had no business being under the bar. And some of the machines just didn't really work out for them. And it's like, all right, I still need them to be working out. So we started to really implement kettlebells into their routines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a mentor or anybody that you were like learning a lot from with kettlebells, or was it a lot of exploration?
It was a lot of just like me just experimenting with different things.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, for those listening that don't, you know, you'll go and look up Dre on social media, and you'll find out that a lot of his content. I mean, you train with all implements. Like you use barbells, you use landmines, you use dumbbells, you use machines, but there's a good percentage of your content that is kettlebell focused, and a lot of your programs are kettlebell focused. So you heard it here, self-taught.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
putting out probably the most viral kettlebell content that is available on the internet, which is, I mean, it's a competitive space. A lot of people using kettlebells out there. What do you think has allowed you? Well, when did you start to explore posting content on social media?
It was like during COVID time.
COVID.
Before that, I didn't even really use my social media.
You didn't.
But I had more time during COVID. Like when I was working, I worked like 40, 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
And you add in my own training and then eating, sleeping, that was it. Like I had no time to really post on social media. Like my workouts was like 30 to 45 minutes because I had in between sessions. That's all I had. Yeah. So when COVID happened, like I was still working out. I had more time to work out. So I was like, all right, let me post a few clips from my training. I was like, all right, simple. Yeah. And that just became an everyday thing. I'm working out, grab a few clips from my training, put it up. Yeah. And then people started like, all right, I like this. It's like I'm at home. I don't have much equipment. I don't really care to use machines. I don't really care to use barbells. And majority of the population either work out from home or they don't work out at all. So it's like, all right, this seems approachable. It's not like too insane.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so, yeah, so you were going from 40, 50 hours a week and then everything stopped.
Everything stopped.
Did you?
I did some training during that month. I probably had like 10 people I was still training. We were training outside. And when we were outside, all I had was one kettlebell and 2 dumbbells. Yeah. So like we weren't able to progressive overload like we were in the gym. So like we had to learn movements. So I took that time to really build them up mobility wise, build stability, and really build up conditioning. And we worked strength with that one bell.
Yeah. Wow. When did when did social media start to really like go viral for you? Or
Once I started being consistent with it, in the sense of like I was posting every day, like my workout from my workout,
Yeah.
and I would say after like 4 weeks of it, like I started having posts just like take off.
Really?
And it was because people were like saving them to do the workouts.
Yeah.
Like I was doing full body workouts, probably 4 or 5 exercises. It's like, all right, it's simple.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It was like people were like, all right, what's the workout for today? Like, what's the workout for today? And like they would be on my page every single day,
Yeah.
trying to find a workout. And I believe that just brought a lot of traction to my page because people were like, this guy's posting workouts every day. They're free. I'm following it. And it was like months and months and months of that. Like probably a couple years of that nonstop.
Wow. Did you change your Instagram handle at that time?
No, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Because that started off as my it was my Twitter handle. Like a lot of me and my buddies, we were just doing like random names. Like one of my buddies' last name is Wood, so his handle was Wish You Would, and the other guy, his last name is Moore. His handle is like Say No More. So it's like we had like little tricks on our name we would put as our social media handles. So it's always been that. Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, I remember seeing some of those content pieces. I mean, I probably was in the group that just was like, you came on my radar during COVID because you were posting so consistently. You in your living room, sweaty on a yoga mat with a couple kettlebells, just looking diesel and working out, right? Yeah, it's a good social media strategy, by the way. Just living room
in
fitness.
my mind, I wasn't thinking it that way because at that point, I'm still working. And I'm like, I wasn't really trying to make this a business. It was like I'm just sharing what I do with people. Like I have no desire to like make it more than what I'm just sharing. Yeah.
Which is interesting. Have you ever been? I mean, I've gotten the question over the years from fitness trainers, coaches, people who are like, "Hey, what should I do? How should I start my social media?" And they're like, "Well, how'd you do it?" And
I always say, I'm like, listen, I don't know if I have advice for you because this wasn't really my plan. Like I kind of got forced into it by people wanting and demanding more of what I was putting out. Oh. It was never meant to be a business for me. It was more like just a hobby of me sharing what I was doing. Yeah. Like I still was working in person. I had a full business lineup in person and some coaching stuff. So I never really had the desire to do it. So it's like, I always tell people like, it's hard to do when it's what you want to do because you need it to work right away. Like you are not patient with it. Like I think if I like got into it to want to do it, I'd have been frustrated if it wasn't like, I wasn't getting enough engagement or I wasn't getting anything. But because I was doing it as like a side thing and like a hobby, I didn't care what it was doing. Yeah. Like I was just sharing it. And like it was helpful to some people that was continuing to say, I want to post this. And it was probably like maybe like 8 or 9 people was like, I'm coming here for my workout every day, so please keep posting. It's like, all right. So I just kept posting. Yeah. And meanwhile, I'm still working. Like it's my job. It's different, but I'm not thinking like, oh, this is gonna turn into like my career. Mm-hmm. It was never really my thought process. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's lessons in that for obviously people who are thinking about business, social media, how to blend them together. But there's also a bigger lesson there where it's like you were doing something because you were enjoying it. It was part of your life. It was something you were passionate about, and it wasn't like out of need. Yeah. And because it wasn't out of need, you really got to just do it authentically, and then the opportunity presented itself when people started to show interest, right? It's like it's not a business opportunity unless people care, right?
Exactly.
And so rather than trying, I mean, you can try and work it the other way, be like, oh, what do people want to see, and then try and go create it. Mm-hmm. Or your route, it was similar to mine. It was like, I'm doing what I love, I'm showing it to the world, and which takes time and energy. Mm-hmm. It's like making a post every day and thinking about what you're going to say and the caption you're going to write. You know, you put in the time in that way. And then you're rewarded with people just being like, man, this is great. Like, I like what you're doing. And so you started getting some traction. And then when did it occur to you to be like, I'll write a program. I'll write my first program.
I think it wasn't until like I was closer to like maybe 60, 70,000 on Instagram at that point. And it's only because like I was just like giving stuff to people. They was like, "What do you have like program wise?" I was like, "I have my like PDF that I do myself."
Yeah.
And I would just send it to them. Like they'll DM me, I would send it to them. Like
Yeah.
no charge. Like I was like, "This is what I have. I'm not selling anything right now."
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how or care to put anything together. I was like, "Here, take this." So I kept just like giving that out and giving that out. I was like, all right. Then I was talking to a couple people that were DMing me. And it was like, "You should put something together to sell because like this is good."
Yeah.
I was like, I'll think about it. I was like, I don't really want to put the work in. Like, it's too much work. I'm still training people. Like, whatever. It's like, I'll do it.
I feel a theme, man. I've known you now a couple years, and this is the theme. Dre, you could do a little bit more. You're like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good with what I'm doing now, which I really admire about you. I appreciate. It's you continue to stick to your values, and one of which I think is being able to control your schedule. You really value that. You still train a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like how many hours a day do you find yourself moving?
Someone asked me this other day. It was like, what is your routine like as far as like gym, workout, like sauna and stuff? I probably have like maybe 4 or 5 hours of, if I go to the gym, I'm like warming up, cardio, I finally lift, get in the sauna for a little while, shower, maybe cold plunge.
Yeah.
And go on for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I value that. That's like my time. And then you add in the dogs, you add in like cooking.
Yeah.
Maybe a little admin work. That's full day.
Yeah, it is a full
day. Yeah, it's full day.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really hard for me to break out of that. Like it's really hard. So like when people were asking me to like create stuff, it's like I don't have the time and the bandwidth. Like we talked about this the other day. I was like, I'm doing like 1 program a year right now. And you're like, you should be doing like 6, 7. I was like, I know. I'm like, the one takes me like 8 months. It's a long time.
Well, I wanna get to the part of the journey where and this is also true. I think it's important for people to hear who are not creators and who are just consumers of content. But let's say 2020, you start posting content every single day. Work out, post a video, caption it, maybe start posting on TikTok also, posting on other platforms. Yeah. And then you come to like, 2-3 years later, and then that like kind of burnout.
They burn out, yeah. And it's funny because right before it started, I was talking to you, we were driving, and you were like, you got to make plans because you get burnt out.
Yeah,
you get burnt out. And I was like, I don't know, it's fine now because I've always seen it as like, it's always been looked to me as like, it's a side thing, like always. Even it's just like, I'm working out anyway, just grab a few clips.
Yeah.
But my workout started to become more about those clips than it was about the actual workout. And I was like, all right, I'm sick of it. Like, I'm tired of filming, like, I'm tired of posting content. Like, I just want to work out and be like free of feeling like I have to do something, or create something, or put something out. But at this point, like, I'm a brand, I'm a business, so it's like almost demanded of me, like, to continue to put out stuff because that's going to continue to grow my business, like revenue stream. Like, I'm training a lot less in person now, so it's like my business is truly from me putting out content.
Yeah.
And because a lot of my content wasn't like a lot of the speaking stuff or a lot of the stuff that was less taxing on your body, it was always me actually working out. So it's demanding that I continue to work out mostly like 5, 6, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And when you add in the other aspects of the mental piece of it, as far as putting programs together, putting all that, you just get like burnt completely out. Mm-hmm. And I was over it. So like programs started taking longer to create. Content just started like, it's just standstill, stall. I was like, I'm not creating anything. I'll just reuse stuff I already have, but I'm not setting up a tripod when I'm working out. I'm just going back to working out and enjoying it the way I enjoy it. Because I was just completely burnt out.
How long ago was that?
Probably like the beginning of this year, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably beginning of this year. Probably right in the beginning of this year.
Yeah, so I mean,
so like almost 3 or 4 years of being consistent daily and just like hit a wall.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I've heard it from a lot of different creators, and it was interesting because a lot of people in fitness got really popular or started to post a lot of content in 2020.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the year. Maybe some people kind of caught on in 2021. because digital, fitness and online fitness became the only way people could consume fitness. So gyms were closed around the world, and even when gyms reopened, people were a little hesitant to go in, and they were really like thirsty for that. I need something to do at home, and so you got people like yourself just starting to post a lot more content for 2 years, and then right around that 2.5 year mark, it's like, whoa, like this is a lot to do every day, because what started out as I'm just filming my workouts, and then now you're like, okay, well, I got to make it, there's a lot of people just filming their workouts. Okay, what can I showcase here that provides value to people? And for those people listening, it's not the content that you put out that makes, that drives your business solely. I mean, you sell training programs, and so content is the way that people first encounter you.
Yes.
They see you, and then ultimately they go and purchase a variety of your programs. We've talked a lot about how you have those set up and the way that people can get them, and we'll make sure that people have an opportunity to go check out where you're, where they can get programs from you, of course, where they can see you online. But how do you, because it's the reality is that your business won't last if you're not posting content, or if you're not interacting with people. And it's content is marketing, content is it's education, it's connection, it's brand building. So how do you weather that? Like, how did you weather that this year? What was the time away from setting up the tripod? Like, what did that do for you?
I mean, I'm still going through the process of it. I mean, business wise, like, I think the longevity of the business and what I've created, I was fortunate enough that I have enough out there where it's not slowing down completely, but to continue to grow, I need to be producing more.
Yeah.
So that's the part where I struggle. It's like, there's no sense of urgency yet, but it can be if I don't pick back up. But I think the time away just allowed me to like get back into a creative space, like make sure I hire the people to do the things that I don't really have the mental capacity to do, that takes me longer to do, and I can get back to doing what I actually enjoy doing, just working out and putting together stuff from my actual workouts. But I really needed the time away, like just go to the gym. Like, I wasn't even working out at home. I was just going to the gym and just working out constantly. Yeah. But it's a process. I feel like I'm really not out of it yet. Like, I'm still hating the idea of posting sometimes. I'm just like, I don't feel like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like and this is like a good lesson to just touch on, because not everyone's going to resonate with, I struggle to make content. Most people don't make content.
Yeah, they don't, yeah.
However, there are things that they know that they need to be doing for their physical, emotional, mental well-being, that they're just like, God, I'm in a rut. Like, I just don't like doing what I'm doing. So what is this year? What lesson have you gained from this year that you would share with people? Like, hey, you find yourself in a rut. This is what has, not to say you're out of it yet, but it's like, what would you share with people?
Just honestly, just step back and take a look at like what's important, like what do you value? Like, if you continue at this rate, what's going to happen? So like, step back, analyze it, and regroup.
Did you do that exercise? Because I've talked about that with people where, and this was very helpful for me. Is like when I'm in a rut, you're feeling it, but it's like, I got to just keep going I got to keep going because I don't know what else to do. And like the pain in the moment, day to day, is like, it's hard, but it's not like, okay, my whole life is unraveling. Yeah. But I give people the exercise, and I did this last November, and I learned this at Tony Robbins. It was like, okay, close your eyes, and now picture you don't change anything. You just keep on this path, and you keep fighting against this thing that is just digging away at you bit by bit. Like, think of yourself 1 year from now. Nothing changes. What kind of person are you going to be? What are your relationships going to be like? How's your physical health? How's your mental health going to be? What are your loved ones going to say about you if you change nothing? And it was like, okay, now anchor all those feelings. All right, now go to 5 years. Like, what does it feel like in 5 years if you change nothing and you just keep grinding through this thing that just isn't fulfilling. It's driving you nuts. Like, you know, and we took it all the way out to like 30 years from now, you know, and I was like, once you see far enough down the line of like, if I just keep doing this thing that I hate, or that fighting against this, you know, this limited self-belief, or trying this process that is clearly like, on the one hand, it's essential for this business, but it's also just making me lose passion. And you get out far enough, you can just see the real like consequence that's there, which is like, I'm a shell of the person I used to be. I stopped caring. I started putting out mediocre content. People stopped trusting me. My loved ones don't even care to listen to my advice anymore, because they see I can't even trust myself anymore. And I think that is a great way to just be like, wow, okay, something needs to change today.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, where am I headed? And that's how much time am I going to waste in life, or in business, or in my health, or whatever. What's 2025 going to look like for you, and what exciting things you have coming up, and where do you see like opportunity and a glimmer of, I don't know, hope?
Me, like, mostly just taking a lot of stuff off my plate and just doing the things I really enjoy. That's also business related, but just really focusing on things that I really can control.
Yeah.
Not really worried about the algorithm or like things in that matter. Just get back to just doing what I like to do.
Yeah. And that's how you got started.
Yeah. Doing what I enjoy and not letting it be too much. And if I get to a point where it's like a lot, just taking a break for a while.
Yeah.
But having more of a structure and a schedule behind it.
Yeah.
Just way it's a little bit of my week, focusing on that, and then I can go back to doing everything else I need to do.
Yeah, and taking more trips to California.
Come
see us.
That too.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you being here, sharing your story. Where do people go to find you if they want to check out your stuff and learn about your programs? What would you like to send people?
Instagram, Every Goddamn Dre. My YouTube, it's Every Goddamn Dre. Website is Kettlebell Functional Training. Yeah, find me there.
Yeah. And stay tuned for some collab content coming from the two of us to a Functional Bodybuilding Marcus Philly Instagram handle soon. And congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you.
Give us, send the people out with just a little bit of the engagement story. How did it go down? You planned that thing for
I did plan it for a while. And even then, like the last little bit, it was tougher because I had to get all my family to Boston, get all her family to Boston, and I had to keep her in the dark. And I'm not a planner; she's the planner in our relationship. So if anything's going on fishy, she usually sniffs it out because I usually don't do anything.
Yeah.
So it's getting my people, my family there. I had to make sure they had all their flights, do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then we were actually supposed to go to brunch with Jason and Lauren. This is what she thinks we're doing.
Oh yeah.
We're meeting them for brunch, and as we're on our way to brunch, she's literally yelling at me about like, when do you propose? When are you proposing? As we're on the way to it. So it's so funny. So like during that week, it's somewhere in our neighborhood. During that week, there was this bird that was always like on this shelf, like this edge of the thing. And I kept sitting there to it because I was talking to the bird, trying to get it to like come like a dog, like, because it would get close to me. So happens that day that bird was there. So I pointed to it and we walked towards it, which happens to be an exact spot that my photographer guy needed for her to be in for like the photos and like the engagement. It was perfect. It was perfect. And then during that time, my buddy went back to her house because she had to see us leave and the dogs not be there. So he went back to the house, grabbed the dogs because the dogs were wearing like the bibs that said, will you marry my father? Our dog owner, whatever it said. And when we're out there, we're talking, we're looking into the space or whatever, and the dogs run up on us and she see like the bib, but it asks,
"Oh wow,
will you marry my dad?" And then that was it.
So romantic. My God,
it's a lot of work. And then we had like it was like a surprise like brunch with everybody after that. Yeah.
Were Jason and Lauren there?
No, they were out of town. They were they were supposed to be there, but they were out of town that weekend. They were on their family vacation, but we said we were meeting them for brunch.
That's good. That's good. So the truth finally comes out. Dre had to take a hiatus from making content because he was planning a very elaborate engagement.
Yeah.
He'll be back. No, you never left. And good to see you. And thanks for coming out. And thanks for being on the podcast. And Functional Bodybuilders, make sure you go check out all of Dre's stuff. He's obviously been in our content before, and we've done some YouTube collabs, which are still heavily viewed and searched for. But if you want to learn some great new kettlebell moves, I get a lot of inspiration from him. So please go check him out, and be sure to check us next week on the podcast. Take care.